Welcome to On the Move.
In 1962, John F. Kennedy, president at the time, spoke to the Organization of American States, and he said, "Those that make peaceful revolution impossible make violent revolution inevitable." As a libertarian, I'm working for peaceful revolution. But we need a revolution in this country. And if we don't get a peaceful revolution, there will be a violent revolution. It might not be in a year or 10 years or 100 years, but it is inevitable, and it will come if the people cannot grab the power back and wield it themselves. Now, the American Revolution was actually not unique, but quite different than many revolutions. It was a revolt. It was a rebellion. It was the overthrow of a tyrant. But it was also a revolutionary form of government that came out of it, one that the world had really never seen, putting that much power in the hands of the people. Now, it wasn't purely libertarian, of course, because it was only white guys with property who were doing the voting, but that's a heck of a lot better than what was going on before. And we've had other revolutions in history. Most of them were purely just revolt. They were just purely rebellion. They were really coups. They replaced one tyrant with another, one tyrannical form of government with another. In fact, I really think the only one that falls into the same category, even though it ended up being tyrannical, was the Marxist revolution, was the Soviet revolution, the replacement of a feudal system with a communist system. And we've seen how well that's lasted and how well it's fared. But there's other revolutions, too, that I want to talk about. Revolutions happen around us all the time. The end of slavery was a revolution in this country and in England. Suffrage was a revolution. Civil rights was a revolution. Sexual freedom was a revolution. Gay rights is a revolution still going on. In my opinion, the war is won, and we're mopping up the battles, the aftermath. But revolutions are a part of our life. They happen all the time. Radical changes from the way things were to the way they become. And in technology, oh my God. Well, the Industrial Revolution is like this overused, amorphous term for an entire period of revolution after revolution in terms of technology and what it meant to human life, what it meant to the average man. And really it did start with steam, which was primarily just started for things like pumping water out of wells. And then some guy comes along and said, "Oh, we can make a train out of this. This would be really cool. We'll move people with steam. We'll run factories with steam." And it's moved on to electricity and our communications with first telegraph and then telephone, then wireless transmissions, with television, with the computer, with lasers. Every one of these was a truly revolutionary change. Now, back in 1962 or thereabouts, a guy named Alvin Toffler wrote a book called Future Shock. He said, "The change is coming too quick. People cannot adapt to these changes. They're going to be overwhelmed by the changes that come forward." And back then I thought, wow, you're right, man. This is going to be a real stress for humans having to deal with technology changing all the time. And then I thought yesterday, I remembered that there were people back in the United States and in England when they were first making trains going, "You can't make a train. If you go faster than a horse can run, people will die." Just from shock, just from fear. Oh, no, you can't run planes. Oh my God. Oh, you can't break the speed of sound. People will die if we break the speed of sound. And I realized that when I look around at the young people in this country today, they're not afraid of change. They have no problem adapting to change in technologies. They're change junkies. Oh my God, that's so 2011. I mean, and does anybody heard somebody say something like that? Yes, everybody has. The people in this country, especially the younger they are, they have a thirst for change. We're seeing it with things like the social movements, like legalizing marijuana, like gay marriage, things that 100 years ago would have taken about 400 years to happen, are now happening in a decade. It was only about 10 years ago that most states in this country were passing these defensive marriage type acts defining marriage as only between a man and a woman, and 10 years later it's unconstitutional. And again, we're just mopping up after the war being won. So I think it's important for us to understand that revolution is a great thing, peaceful revolution. And the vast majority of revolutions we face in our life, the ones we encounter, are peaceful. And the people of this planet have an immense capacity to handle change.